Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So last week, the Social Security Administration announced a 2.8% increase for all recipients of Social Security. And just now, a group of lawmakers are proposing a new change that would impact Social Security increases in the future by ensuring that they're actually higher and hopefully actually keep up with inflation from here moving forward. So in today's video, we are going to be covering everything that you need to know. But before we go ahead and dive into for today, if you would like to receive up to $200 in free stock or $200 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Robinhood. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then simply link your bank account. You do not even have to make an opening deposit. At that point in time, Robinhood will be sending you one free stock worth all the way up to $200. And if you'd rather just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive the free stock is just sell it for what it's worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into for today. So last week on Friday, the Social Security Administration finally released the upcoming increase for all recipients, whether you receive retirement benefits, SSI or SSDI benefits. That did come in at 2.8%, which is a lot more than previously expected back in January this year, where they were projecting like 2 to 2.1%. It came in much higher because of the tariffs that have been implemented. So we started seeing inflation begin to pick right back up once again. However, even with a 2.8% increase, most Social Security recipients are saying that is not going to be enough to keep up with inflation, especially with inflation rising once again to 3% and even higher than that. And because of that, a group of lawmakers are now announcing a new change that they want to make to future Social Security cost of living adjustments. In today's video, we're going to be covering everything that you need to know. But first off, once again, according to the Motley Fool, there is a 2.8% cost of living adjustment that is going to be impacting all Social Security beneficiaries. So first off, for retired workers, you can expect to receive a monthly increase on average right around $56. For disabled workers, there's going to be a monthly increase of right around $44. For spouses, $27. Survivors, $44. So all in all, not too bad. Now keep in mind the Medicare Part B premium is also going to be increasing by right around $21.50 per month next year in 2026 as well. So it's obviously going to impact the increase, where it's going to cut just about almost in half for a lot of folks receiving Social Security. And quite frankly, like I said, a lot of beneficiaries are seeing these cost of living adjustments, and while there's something, at least their benefits are increasing, they're still not exactly keeping up with inflation, and what they're able to buy, their buying power is decreasing actually year by year. They're seeing that for the same amount of benefits that they're receiving, they're not able to buy these same goods and services that they were the prior year, 5 years ago, or even 10 years ago. These COLAs are not keeping up with inflation, and so lawmakers in DC want to change that. That's why they're announcing a new bill that would change the COLA formula, hopefully for the better for everyone receiving Social Security benefits. So we're going to pull up this article here. They say that a new bill would change the formula of Social Security's cost of living adjustment to help seniors afford costs throughout retirement. So the bill is called the Boosting Benefits and COLAs for Seniors Act. It was introduced by Senators Richard Blumenthal, Kirsten Gillibrand, Ruben Gallego, and U.S. Representative Nikki Budzinski. It would direct the Social Security Administration to consider adjusting benefits based on the Consumer Price Index for the elderly instead of the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, depending on whether benefits would increase. They say, quote, "This overdue measure makes necessary adjustments to Social Security benefits more accurately, accounting for rising prices and inflation to better support older Americans," said Senator Blumenthal in a statement. "Our nation's seniors are struggling to afford basic necessities like food, medication, and clothing, and the overall cost of living index may not reflect their particular needs." He goes on to say this legislation ensures that older Americans have the support they deserve to live with dignity. And again, if we look at the CPIE, and we compare that to the CPIW, on average, the CPIE typically is a little bit higher than the CPIW. Not a lot higher, but a little bit higher, but it certainly makes all the difference. Even if you're receiving an extra $8 per year over the course of 5 to 10 years, that extra $8 per month really adds up in benefits if you're receiving the extra $8. Now, they go on here to say that one of the largest differentiators with the CPIE formula is its heavy consideration of medical expenses along with other costs, say supporters of the change. The Senior Citizens League, a nonpartisan senior group, notes that the CPIE is specifically designed to represent older Americans' spending habits. And while the Social Security's official COLA figure is at 2.8%, is anticipated to raise retiree benefits by $56 a month. Much of that could be consumed by rising healthcare costs. So far, Medicare Part B premiums and several Part D plan premiums are on course to jump in the new year, experts say. They say, quote, those costs are currently skyrocketing with Medicare Part B premiums projected to increase by twice as much as last year, said Nancy Altman, president of Social Security Works. The Boosting Benefits and COLAs for Seniors Act would correct this by incorporating a more accurately formula. Now, the legislation is currently co-sponsored in the Senate by Senators John Fetterman, Bernie Sanders, Peter Welch, Sheldon Whitehouse, Jack Reed, Elizabeth Warren, and Angela Brooks. Now, if you notice there, even though there are a lot of senators and representatives sponsoring this bill, if you look who they are, unfortunately, they all have a D next to their name. That means they are a Democrat. We don't see any Republicans, unfortunately, at this time sponsoring this bill. So we can only hope that this bill becomes something that is bipartisan. But I think the Republicans and Democrats can look at the cost of living adjustments and they can see all the inflation that's taking place in the economy. And unfortunately, people receiving Social Security benefits are not receiving their fair share of what their increase should be to be able to keep up with inflation and be able to buy these same goods and services as they were in the previous years. This is something that should definitely be bipartisan. So I really hope and I urge members of Congress, whether they're a Republican, whether they're a Democrat, or whether they're an independent, to get on board with this bill and pass it, because people who receive Social Security should not be falling behind and receiving less in benefits because their Social Security cost of living adjustment is not keeping up with inflation. And we can see here also from the Senior Citizens League, benefits have lost 20% of buying power since 2010. It's very apparent here that the benefits are the COLAs are not actually keeping up with inflation. So they said that research on the buying power of Social Security benefits by the Senior Citizens League shows that the value of seniors' benefits have declined by 20% since 2010. The 2024 loss of buying power study found that on average, payments for retired workers would need to rise by $4,440 per year or $370 per month to rebuild their lost value. So this year in 2024, for example, if they had the same buying power as back in 2010, they should actually be receiving right around $2,230 on average, and that is just not the case. People are not able to buy these same goods and services as they were 15 years ago because these COLAs are clearly not keeping up with inflation. And you can also see up on the screen here what the COLAs were versus the actual inflation rate. So for example, in 2024, the COLA was 3.2%, whereas the inflation rate was actually 3.4%. In 2022, we had inflation at 7%. The cost of living adjustment was only 5.9%. We lost 1.1%. Then the previous year in 2021, we're also seeing inflation higher than the actual cost of living adjustment. And sure, there are some years where the COLA is actually higher than the actual inflation, such as in 2012, where the COLA was actually 0.6% higher. In 2015, the COLA was 0.9% higher. The following year, it was 0.7% higher. But in most years, the inflation rate outpaces the cost of living adjustment. And that's why, once again, since 2010, we have lost right around 20% of buying power. And this trend is only going to continue over the following decades if we don't change the COLA formula. So hopefully Republicans and Democrats can get on board with this bill to ensure that Social Security benefits finally keep up with inflation and people receiving Social Security benefits can finally maintain and keep their buying power. But with that said, leave your thoughts and comments below about everything that we discussed in today's video. I would definitely love to read them, but that's all we have for today's video, and I will see you in the next one.